Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us for this week's webinar, The Power of Networking. When you logged on, you probably noticed a few options on the bottom of your screen. I just want to make sure that all of our systems are working properly. If you wouldn't mind, just let me know, where are you viewing from? I am currently in Baltimore, Maryland, and I would like to know where all of you are. Wisconsin, Oregon, Northern Maryland, Missouri, Southern Maryland, Illinois. Very cool. We got a wide variety here. Pennsylvania. Karen and Heidi, where are you joining from?
I'm Pennsylvania.
Pennsylvania also?
Sisters, Oregon. So we typed in too. We were cheating.
Oh, those were your names. Sorry, didn't see that one. Perfect. Well, thank you so much for putting those in there. I just wanted to introduce myself. My name is Madeline. I'll be your host for today. Welcome to today's presentation, The Power of Networking. Today's webinar is brought to you by Leap. Leap is a software that reduces errors and redundancies that slow down your sales process. Leap allows the owners and someone accountable to control all pricing and profit margins in one central location. Whether you're in roofing, windows, siding, flooring, kitchen and bath, or any other home service, you can use the power of Leap to make your customizable sales platform your own. With Leap, you can take documents, estimates, brochures, personal checks, handwritten notes, and measurements and put them on all one digital location to power your business. I'm going to launch a poll, and if you'd like to set up some time with one of our Leap specialists to go over how Leap can help your business, please go ahead and answer yes. If you do answer yes today, we have a special promotion for you for joining this webinar. Have a conversation with us and we'll send you a gift card for lunch on us. If we're a good fit for one another, you'll also get $500 towards your Leap subscription. If you're using an older version of Zoom, you may not see this poll pop up. You can go ahead and raise your hand or put it in the chat box and I'll make sure that someone reaches out to you. Just gonna give it a few more minutes to let some more people answer. And then I will introduce our lovely host, Karen and Heidi today. Perfect. Well, today I wanted to introduce to you Heidi J. Ellsworth and Karen L. Edwards of RoofersCoffeeShop. Heidi and Karen have been working together on various roofing-oriented companies since 2006. Ellsworth is the owner and president of RoofersCoffeeShop, and Edwards is the COO of RoofersCoffeeShop. They continually collaborate around sales and marketing, online publishing, and overall networking and consulting in the roofing industry. They both have a passion for helping others to succeed. I am going to go ahead and ask you, how are you currently, I'm going to launch another poll and ask, how are you currently networking? If you want to go ahead and let us know, are you primarily using social media? Maybe you attend trade shows and showcases, or maybe you've just been really lucky and you haven't, you've had the word of mouth and you haven't really had to put much into networking, but you want to learn how you can incorporate it into your business. I'll give you a few more seconds here. Looks like most of us are using social media. Social media is a great platform to use. I know here at Leap, we use a lot of social media as well. There's a few of us that have just been lucky, so good for you. Word of mouth is great. Perfect. All right, and now what you all have been waiting for, I'm going to stop sharing my screen and I'm going to pull up one more. I'm going to pull up the slideshow and get this presentation started. All right, Karen and Heidi, why don't you take it from here?
Madeline, we may need to switch the slide. We're seeing the backside of water. There you go.
So sorry about that.
No problems. We all are living in the Zoom world, so we understand.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for that amazing introduction and also for inviting us here today. We're very honored. My name is Heidi Ellsworth. As Madeline says, I'm the president of RoofersCoffeeShop. And we are here today to talk about a book that we've recently released called The Power of Networking. There we go. And so what we have found, and we're going to introduce, but just to kind of introduce this whole topic is how important this is in this day and age. And with where we're at virtually and after the last couple of years, networking is more important than ever. So before we get started, I would like to introduce ourselves. As I said, my name is Heidi Ellsworth. I'm president of Roofers Coffee Shop. I've been in the roofing industry going on 30 years, believe it or not, and have worked for companies like Malarkey, Carlisle, Eagleview, and had my own business, HJE Marketing, and now HJE Consulting, along with Roofers Coffee Shop. So a lot of years of sales and marketing and really understanding the importance of networking. I'd like to have Karen introduce herself now.
Hello, everybody. My name is Karen Edwards. And similar to Heidi, I've been in the industry for a long time, since around 2000, about 22 years. And I've had some of the same companies under my belt as Heidi, Carlisle, Eagleview, and now my own business, Casimir Group, where I do consulting, marketing consulting in the roofing industry. And then I also work with Heidi at Roofers Coffee Shop as the COO. So we're going to talk today about networking. And I tell you, networking has gotten me where I am today. I would not have my own company successfully without the networking that happened over the years. And so we're real excited to talk to you about that.
Excellent. So with the next slide, we wanted to also introduce, so networking, bottom line, Karen and I met back in, I think it was 2006, right, Karen?
Yes.
And we have worked together on doing sales and marketing for several companies together. And we really understood that there's a lot of people out there who are just starting, who maybe need, or maybe people who've been around because their specialty is roofing, and maybe there's not so much about sales and marketing or even networking. So over since 2015, we've actually written 3 books: Sales and Marketing for Roofing Contractors, Building Your Own Marketing Plan, and The Power of Networking. So all 3 of those books are available on Amazon. Today, we're going to focus in on The Power of Networking, but if you ever have any questions about any of these other things, we're always here we did it because we wanted to give back to the industry. So, as we look at why network and moving to the next, yeah, perfect. I can't see everything that's going on, so forgive me. But so why networking? In roofing, what we have found is networking is everything. Knowing who the people are, whether it's if you're a roofing contractor, knowing your distribution, knowing your manufacturers, getting your company in front of the right people on so many different levels. It means success for your business. And it's not always easy to do. I mean, a lot of times it's just a lot nicer to go home. But some nights you're like, no, I need to go out to that hospitality, or no, I need to get on that Zoom call, because that is part of the business world. And it not only is success for business, but it helps you grow your career. So when I think back about the mentors and the people I've met in roofing who have really helped me become the person I am today, I could not have done that unless I took that step out to get to know them and to introduce myself. And then from there, from that career, it's also provided huge amounts of business success. People who you can call, people who you can ask for advice, people who you can sell to or buy from. Those are the type of things that not only help create mentors and advocates, but good business as we go along. So today we want to kind of upfront why, because sometimes, and there were a few of you who answered like, I've just been lucky, which you have, and you probably have done more network than you realized, but there's a reason for your business to go about this. So we're going to work through all the different areas of networking for your business. And Karen's going to take the next topic on company networking.
Within your own company. Yeah, you might not think about, why do I need to network in my company? I know the people that work here, but you might not know them as well as you think you do. It's really important to get to know your coworkers and build closer relationships. So many times in a company over the years, I've seen someone, and this happens at Roofers Coffee Shop too, we bring somebody into one role, and they are very interested in what's happening over here in this side of the business. So they learn a little more about it and then maybe eventually move over there. So, you may be in a situation where you joined a company and you're working in marketing, but you're seeing excitement about what's going on in sales. And, there's opportunities to maybe earn additional money, and you may want to know more about it. So that's when you want to reach out to someone in the sales team, spend some time with them, maybe shadow them for a day, learn about that job and see if it's something that you might be interested in exploring. You want to get to know the leadership team within your company. A lot of times the owner or the president or the CEO, it can be a little intimidating. It's like, oh, they're important, they're busy, and they don't have time for me. But they're people just like you and I, and they often will see potential in people, and maybe if you express that interest, that you're interested in taking on more responsibility or moving into a leadership role, they may be able to become your mentor and help you grow and learn to move into another position like that. You also want to learn about different areas of the company. When I start a new job, I like to meet with each department or each department head and learn about, what do you do for the company? How does this work? Because when you have a better understanding of the total business operations and what everyone is contributing to go into it, it helps you be better at your job. And allies for life, that last bullet, that's so true. You see people often follow people as they change careers. And then, I did that with Heidi. I've seen it with other friends of mine in the industry. It's really where you build that network and those allies for life within your own company. So start there.
And Karen, one of the things too, for those of you who are business owners out there, maybe you own a roofing company and this is so important for your employees. So if you can encourage them to get to understand all the different departments, meet people, put together mentors and allies within the business, it is so strong for the culture of that business and also for your future growth, because now all of a sudden you are prepping as part of the training, as part of a career path for your employees that help them stay. We know retention is such a challenge in this market. I would also really put out there too, to take the time for you as the owner to meet with each one of your employees and take the time to help them, because sometimes it's up to us to go and introduce ourselves to that president, but how cool is it when the president comes and introduces themselves to you? It's a huge cultural thing within the company networking, not just for the individuals too.
Heidi, I forgot to mention your vendors too.
Yeah.
Your company, if you're buying materials, you're buying services, you're buying, working with consultants, those vendors are an important part of helping the business be successful and helping you be successful, because as we know, sales is all about relationships. And when you form those close networked relationships with people, it's a win-win all around.
And, we talk about this a little bit in building a marketing plan, how important it is that the marketing team understands the sales team and understands the goals of the leadership and the business plan and the overall. And that's all part of it. If they're not talking, if they don't feel comfortable talking to each other, you miss out, and you all of a sudden have different parts of your company taking on different things and not cohesive. So company networking really is critical. And when you go to the next area of industry networking, that is really goes back to what Karen was just talking about too, vendors. I've learned some of the best things working with distribution, with manufacturing, magazine reps, publishers out there. It makes such a difference. You can actually ask questions and learn, and then they'll introduce you to people. If you're trying to say, we're kind of maybe looking for a manufacturer, we're going to go into solar. That's something that your distributor, your other manufacturers can help you network and meet those people for your business. And even as an employee, I think it's really important too. I just know how much I learned from a marketing standpoint when I was working with different publications, and I would ask them questions. I would spend time with them. I would have them introduce me to other people who are in my similar position. It helps the growth of your company and the growth of individuals within that company to start branding within the industry, to be that brand ambassador for your company. I think also too often associations, there is not enough involvement. So Karen and I are both very involved with National Roofing Contractors Association, National Women in Roofing, all the regionals, Florida, Western, because it's not just myself who's involved. It's not just Karen. It is people in our organization. We have our, within Roofers Coffee Shop, we have people actively members in National Women in Roofing, encouraging them to be involved with their councils, to be involved with their local associations, because we want them to network and we want them to give back and be a part of those associations also. I would say the other thing on industry networking that's really important is to take some time with online groups. It's amazing when you meet somebody. If I'm in Oregon and Karen's in Pennsylvania and we're able to talk, there's no competition. We learn from each other, but we're probably not going to be able to do that in person as much as we want to, but we can do it through online. And we're going to talk more about those online resources as we go. So whether it's online, trade shows, meetings, events, or subscribing to industry publications, visiting Roofers Coffee Shop every day, those are the kind of things that help you get to know what you want to do networking wise. And then you can move on to what's probably very important for most of your roofing businesses out there.
For sure. Your community networking. We often, don't think about this, but if your local business is your business to consumer company, then this community networking is going to be very important for your business. Chamber of Commerce is a great way to get involved. The Chamber of Commerce in your town supports local business. They want you to be successful. I work with a contractor down in Texas. Their marketing director got involved in the local chamber and they asked her to become an ambassador. So she is the face welcoming new members to events. And she is, becoming known not only for her personally, but also for her company. And so when new businesses are starting and coming into that town and they need a roofing service, they're of course going to think of this chamber ambassador who works for the local roofing company. There's also local associations, your Rotaries, your Kiwanis, your Lions Club. There's associations for almost every part of a business and every part of a community. And finding them is easy. Even just a Google search online. And see what's in your area, read about them, see what their missions are, and show up, get involved. You might want to consider becoming part of a professional group. There are, I think Rotary is probably one of the biggest, business oriented type groups that also does a lot of giving back. Because people do business with people that they know and that they like. So by being involved and supporting those organizations, people get to know you. They get to know you and they associate you with that brand and with that service. So it can really help grow both personally and professionally for your business. And don't forget about nonprofits. Heidi and I both worked for nonprofits a long time ago. We always needed volunteers, right? We always needed sponsors. We always needed that. And there's ways for you to get involved and not just, donate money to the cause, but be there and support them and help their efforts. And all of that it's building your contacts, your networks for yourself and your business. It's also, you're doing something good for the community. So that's really important.
Yeah. And don't forget about the professional associations, what Karen was talking about with groups, but also like your building BOMA groups.
Oh, yeah.
Management associations, your home builders, your apartment complex. There's something for everything. CREW, which is commercial real estate for women. I've heard great things about that's just amazing networking for commercial roofing contractors. So looking local, and I have to tell you, Karen, I don't know if you're the same way, but I'm the worst at this because we work so much nationally that I have to make myself go out and get involved in the local community.
That just happened to me a couple of weeks ago. It was National Women in Construction Week. And, we have a local National Women in Roofing chapter, but we're not as active. And a networking person thought of me and said, hey, we're doing this event. Do you want to go? And so like you said at the beginning, Heidi, I was like, it's like 5:30 at night and it's 45 minutes away. And no, I don't want to go. But I said, yes, yes, I do want to go. And do you know what? It was really great. And I met some great connections. I met people that said, oh my gosh, that's what you do? I need help. Do you think you could help me? And so, right there, I was like, oh, wow, okay, this was really worth it. So sometimes you have to drag yourself, and I've been doing this a long time. And sometimes I still even have to do that, but it was so fulfilling. And, that was a professional organization that they're there, and you just make such good connections. And I also learned that there was, one woman that worked for a contractor and they specialized in one area, but another woman specialized in a different part of the building. So they would work together a lot of times. So it's bringing that business in, by finding those people that you like and you want to work with.
That is so spot on, Karen. Because I think about all the time, sometimes when that you least expect it, I was like, wow, I totally missed this gem. Because you do have to put yourself out of your comfort zone after a long day of work. Who doesn't want to just go home and, chill? But it does come together. And part of that, as we move forward, is really looking at what are your goals. So if you are, I'm very, for all of you who maybe know me or have heard me speak, or Karen or I speak before, I'm huge on goal setting, visualization, and accountability. It's really one of the only ways that you can really make all this happen. And so one of the things you'll find in this book, because everyone who's attending today gets a free one from Leap and from Roofers Coffee Shop, is we have work pages in here, so, right? We have where you can put down your goals. It's like a workbook. And so as you're thinking about setting goals for networking, first of all, where do you want to start? What are you trying to do? Are you an employee who's maybe just started in the roofing industry and you want to meet this person, right? You want to get more involved with your distributor. Maybe you're in marketing, you want to go in sales. Maybe you're in production and you want to go to estimating. Write those down, write what you want to do, and then look for the connections. So if it's in your own company and maybe you're in production and you want to go to estimating, you need to make friends with that lead estimator. You need to go talk to them, see if you can ride with them and do those things. But you aren't going to know that unless you set those goals and then actually identify the people to get in charge with. As a building or as a roofing company owner, you may say, again, that example, we want to go into solar. So once you've identified that goal of we're going to go into solar, then you need to set your goals of who do you need to talk to? Do you need to talk to the manufacturers? Do you need to talk to electricians? Do you need to talk to other contractors around the country who've done this before to learn those mistakes or those good things? So once you identify who you want, then you go out and you identify the people you want to talk to. And then that allows you to start putting a plan together on how to get in front of them, whether that's in person, online, or introductions. Developing that profile and the connections, that really takes you the next step. And it should never end. As soon as you make those connections, then you start over all over again. And really, that's when you need the networking tools that Karen's going to talk about.
Yeah, there's a lot of tools out there, but we're going to talk really today about the two main digital networking tools. And the first one is LinkedIn. And I have to say, Heidi is like so good at LinkedIn, so good. And you want to make sure that you optimize your profile. I can't tell you how many people I get a LinkedIn request from, and they don't have a photo of themselves. They don't have a cover photo on there, or they're just kind of, I have this job listed and that's it. Like I want to know what they do, what classes they've taken, what they're specialists in, what their interests are. And you build a profile, which is great. You need that. Customize your URL. Not everybody knows you can do this on LinkedIn. Your address will be linkedin.com/ a series of numbers / well, you can change that. What comes after that first slash? I believe, Heidi, is ours on the back of the book?
Yes, it is.
Mine is linkedin.com /in/KL Edwards. Heidi's is the same. LinkedIn.com/HJ Ellsworth. Easy to do. It's very professional, gives a nice, easy to find, easy address to share. And then the other thing is to be active. You need to provide content, whether you're sharing interesting articles or whether you're writing your own. You need to be active. People don't want to see an account that last posted 3 months ago. Well, how engaged are you? How relevant are you? And you want to connect, but stay selective. If you're running a roofing business, if you're working in sales or marketing, you probably get these requests every day for guaranteed leads. I'm a digital marketing guru and I can guarantee you this many leads. Well, I don't know you. If I connected with every one of them that I had, I would have as many connections as Heidi, who has probably double mine. I know mine are like over 1,000 or 1,500, but be selective. It's okay to not accept an invitation, because I tell you what, a lot of these people are using automated tools through LinkedIn to algorithms find profiles that might have a match because you put the word roofing in your profile, and that algorithm sends you an automated message, and you can kind of tell when that message is automated. There's all kinds of creepy tools like that out there. One of them being Sales Navigator, which I'll have Heidi comment on in just a minute. And then keep in mind, I don't know if they call it a newsfeed still on LinkedIn. When you go to your homepage and you see what people and your connections are posting, keep in mind that LinkedIn is just like Facebook. They decide what you get to see and what you don't get to see. I get on LinkedIn sometimes and I'll see a post from a friend of mine and it says 5 days ago. And I'm like, oh, I'm just seeing that now. Facebook does that sometimes too. So sometimes you have to search for things that you're interested in. Look for events and groups on LinkedIn that you want to be part of, and join those groups and become active in those groups. Pay attention to your notifications as well, because you might miss something. If you like and follow a page and you want to get notifications when something's going on, check it regularly, once a day, ideally. Heidi and I were on an entire training on LinkedIn and best practices and how to use it. And they have their sales team start every day on LinkedIn in the morning and seeing what their connections are doing, looking for new things. So Heidi is one of those people who started in marketing and then moved into sales and then moved into company ownership. But she's one of the best salespeople out there. And I know she was always a fan of Sales Navigator. And that's a tool through LinkedIn. Heidi, why don't you just share a little bit about what that allows people to do?
Yeah, Sales Navigator is an extra cost. You can go on there and you can sign up for it. But if you're in sales or a business owner and you're active in the sales or in getting in front of the industry, your community, Sales Navigator is excellent. You can go into Sales Navigator, you actually go and search, you find the people you want, or even if somebody pops up who you're thinking, oh, I want to connect to that, you can take them into Sales Navigator and then you can follow them. You follow their company, you see what they're doing, you get all the notifications, you can send special messages. It's because one of the things, to Karen's point, is you will find people on LinkedIn and other social media, but especially on LinkedIn, who just constantly are hitting you. They don't even know who you are. I can't tell you how many things I get for roofing leads, and they don't even know that we're not a roofing company, that we're a roofing publisher for the industry. And so, but I like to get to know people. And so sometimes, don't mean this to be creepy, but that means a little bit of stalking, right? Reading what they're interested in, following their companies, understanding what they're doing, so that when you do connect, you're knowledgeable about them. And that's nice. That is, that's nice to have somebody who knows who I am when they're trying to connect, instead of just algorithms. And I would say too, we just talked about setting goals. Set your goals on what you want from your LinkedIn or from your other social media platforms, because as Karen says, as you're optimizing your profile, as you're adding photos in, as you're doing all those kind of things, it sends a subliminal message, right, of who you are and what you can offer in that connection. And so by really taking your time and thinking about that, like, are you speaking? And so show a picture of you speaking in front of a crowd, right? Are you, obviously, many of you are doing roofing. Show some of your beautiful projects. Show your crews with all the safety gear. Those are the kind of things that building owners are going to identify with, or homeowners are going to identify with. On that note, LinkedIn, we recommend it across the board, but really more commercial. If you are a residential contractor who's listening to this, really look at Facebook. Facebook does amazing things on a residential, a community, a local basis, getting involved in those local groups, really getting to know people out there. Where LinkedIn, you get a lot more business oriented, building owners, facility managers, along that lines.
And keep in mind, people are using Facebook for different reasons. LinkedIn is just very business, like Heidi said, very commercial. Facebook is more personal. It's fun. And I'll give an example of a contractor that gets involved in the community. And whenever there is a National Adopt a Pet Day, a National Love Your Dog Day, they bring in a dog from their local animal shelter. And the dog spends the day in the office with them, and they post pictures of the dog doing things throughout the day and saying, if you're interested in adopting this dog. And those posts just go through the roof with interaction and engagement and reach. And that's what it's about, is that reach. The other thing that you want to look for on Facebook are groups. There is a group for any women who are working in the industry. It's called Harness and Heels.
Yes.
And it's a wonderful group where it's a safe space for women to talk about what's happening at work. Hey, has anyone ever done this? I'm dealing with my first insurance claim. What kind of thing? And the conversations are genuine and inviting, and there's no negativity loud. It's all for personal growth. So Facebook does overlap a little bit into that area, but that's more of growing my personal brand and my personal knowledge and understanding and knowledge of the industry. And then the last bullet on here, when we say recommendations, that does kind of go back to LinkedIn. It's a little bit on Facebook because people can leave your business page a review. So it's important to invite your customers to leave reviews on that Facebook page. And LinkedIn, ask for recommendations from your coworkers, your team members, people that you've worked with, vendors that you've done business with, because that helps round out your brand and your personal identity in the business world and personal world.
Yeah, very important. All of these things, great ways to get involved, set the goals, use the tools, go after them. Another tool is in-person events. So as we're looking at in-person events, now that we can be in person again, hooray. Karen and I have just been on the road since January, and actually last fall, moving through, where we are back in touch with people in the industry, in our regional areas, that we want to get to know more people. And I have to tell you, for me personally, the best place has been National Women in Roofing. National Women in Roofing, National Women in Roofing Day. That's right before IRE, which is another, IRE is just such a huge event. But having those goals set before you go. So before you go to National Women in Roofing Day, I want to meet Karen Edwards. How am I going to do that, right? And I'm going to take the chance to walk up and shake her hand and introduce myself. I've seen this happen over and over again. I've done it. I've had people come and introduce themselves to me. We become fast friends. It works. It's scary sometimes, but if you have that goal and you're going to the right places or the booth or wherever it may be, in-person events can be so strong. You create authentic relationships. It's that in person, Zoom works here, but that in person just makes such a big difference. And I always say follow up. And it is something I'm not going to say I'm 100% great at it. I try very hard to follow up and to get information out to people, but I always try to have my business cards with me, constantly passing those out. And I try to write thank you notes, whether it's an email, a text, or a nice card, to thank people for their time, for having me for dinner, whatever it may be. Getting something in the mail like that, it's a little old fashioned, but people so appreciate it. And it leaves it leaves them thinking about you and that connection.
Heidi, it happened to me after National Women in Roofing Day this year. I got a handwritten thank you note with business card in it, and I should have pulled it out so I could show you and give her a thank you. But I was like, oh, wow. We didn't spend that much time talking, but that made an impression.
I know it really does. And it's time, but especially if you are coming from a company and you're looking at growing your brand in the industry, getting to know people, learning, looking for mentors or allies, that leaves, stay in touch. It's okay. And follow them on LinkedIn after you get home. We don't have that on here, but follow them on LinkedIn. I don't do Facebook as much, but I do a lot of LinkedIn. So yeah. And then always give back. I think one of the big things about in-person events is you need to also look at it as, what can I give? So for example, when we go to National Women in Roofing, we're there the night before helping to stuff the bags, and I corral my whole team into it. But then you meet people that night doing something when you're giving back or being a part or being a volunteer. Going to the community service day during IRE or during your local regional shows or locally in your own community. That's the best way in person to volunteer, whether it's Habitat for Humanity, whatever it may be. You will make friends for life and advocates for you, and do your homework. So when you're going to that event, know what the classes are, know what's going on, invite others to be with you, kind of know who you're going to be, and continue to expand that circle. And part of that, so we talked about the tools, we talked about in-person events. Really, it's about digital networking. How do you do that?
Yeah, because, not everybody has the opportunity to attend those in-person events, and in-person events are invaluable. I mean, that's the whole reason National Women in Roofing was formed, right? Because of a group that kept getting together at all these in-person events and said, we need to take this a bit further. So, and digital networking has never become more prevalent than it has over the last 2 years. Because we hadn't been able to do those in-person events. And it really gave us the opportunity to become closer, I think. And I always use this example of the, not long after everything was shut down, National Women in Roofing, it was the Northern New Jersey chapter, Christine, who I knew because she works for SRS Distribution. And she said, I need to get together with people. And she said, I'm going to have a wind down Wednesday happy hour. And she sent an invitation out through National Women in Roofing. And well, we had like a dozen women hop on from all over the country. New Mexico, out in Pittsburgh, the women from New Jersey, Heidi was on a couple. And it was just that opportunity to really get to know folks to the point where, I will be able to pick up the phone and call somebody that's in a different part of the country. And that was all done digitally. I wouldn't have had the opportunity to get together with those women in person. And like Heidi said, after that in-person event, you follow people that you met on LinkedIn, connect with them, stay in touch through videos, through a Zoom call. We use Teams at RoofersCoffeeShop, and it's great. In fact, the webinar started and I actually didn't close Teams, Heidi, because Megan was trying to call me and I was like, oh no, I thought I had it closed. But so you can just, even though she's in Colorado and I'm here in Pennsylvania, it's real easy just to make that call, chat with somebody, and develop your personal digital brand. I think that's really important. Like when I turn my camera off, my professional headshot is what's showing there. So, how do I look? How does my name appear in the box? I've seen people with some really strange names in there, but this is all a reflection on your brand. This is who you are, not only in person, but digitally, right? Make sure your information is updated. Is your email signature? Does it have your LinkedIn? Does it have the correct phone number? Just make sure everything's up to date. Creating content, we talked about that with LinkedIn. Maybe you're not a writer, but guess what? It's really easy to do a video. Mm-hmm. We often will have, through our influencers on Roofers Coffee Shop, we'll ask a question each month and we say, hey, just record yourself on your phone, send a video in and we'll use that and share that, because that's just another way to stay in front of people and maintain that connection. So I think that it's even more important now to really look at what is your digital footprint and what is your digital personal brand.
Right. I know salespeople out there. Randy Chaffee, he's the one who talked to me about this, that when COVID first started, he just started taking videos and emailing the videos. So they would still have that one-on-one. It was before Zoom really took off. And so be creative. Karen and I just recently, we are doing weekly, we call it the weekly blend from Roofers Coffee Shop. Now it's not 2 and 2, but we're creating a brand. We talk about what's going on in the industry and we get it out there every week. So there's a lot of different ways to kind of think about that. And just think, if your company were to put a video together that went out to your building owners on social media every week, talking about what's happening with material shortages,
Yes.
what's happening, those kind of things. Now, so they're going to connect to you and you're going to move on. So there's a lot of ways for that digital networking to go on. And I think really bottom line, and I know Karen agrees with this, at the end of the day, the best networking is when you give back.
Mm-hmm.
If you go out to do networking and it's all about you and it's all about what you think you're going to get, you'll see on this next slide, that's not going to work. Really what works is when you give your time to mentor, you give your time to give advice and to be a part of it. So I think, Madeline, if we can put the slide, there we go. So networking is a two-way street. And that's really, don't go out there thinking this is, and I'm sure none of you would do this, but sometimes you just are thinking sales, I got to get people. You have all the stress of all the business. I got to get more things going on, but always think of it as a two-way street. What are you giving to that person you're connecting with? Because whatever you give, you'll get in return. Hopefully, most of the time, not always, but, and then you provide a platform for empowerment. When you empower other people, they come back and empower you. So I always try to take time during the week that can be very busy just to have a 30-minute phone call with somebody who is looking to grow their business or to do something a little bit different. So think about those mutual wins for each of you and those relationships. And I always say, stand up for the underprivileged, because there's a lot of people out there who maybe that need recognition or need help, whether it's nonprofits or just people in the industry who you kind of, maybe when you're at that in-person event and you see someone sitting by themselves and alone, reach out, introduce yourself, bring them into the group, however that is, because next time it might be you and you're going to hope somebody reaches out to you.
Yeah.
Huge part of networking is making time to give back. So Karen, any other thoughts on that?
No, I agree with the giving back. And Heidi, you are a wonderful example of that. Always looking at how can I help and lift other people up and include them. Heidi is very much about inclusivity. I think that we're probably going to give a little plug for Roofers Coffee Shop here, but that's one way. We are a digital online community, so it's a great place to get started. We include everyone, and we welcome you to visit,
to be part of it. Let me tell you, Karen and I have done this together for a long time. So we'll work a room and we look for people. We look for people to bring in, to empower, to do those things. We truly believe in it. And that's going to be the best thing for you as you do the power of networking within your own career, with your own business. So if we can change the slide, Madeline, this is just a reminder about the books, and they are workbooks. So you'll get them and you write down all these goals and all the things we talked about, what you want to do. And if we go to the next slide, we will give one last plug for what we think is some of the best networking in the world, and that is Roofers Coffee Shop. So when you come to Roofers Coffee Shop, there are so many ways to get involved, whether you're reading the articles in educational classes, whether you are part of our R Club, which is the ultimate roofers club for roofing companies. This is the first step, and you can meet people, you can see what's happening, you can start doing it, and then take all of that information that you get every day on Roofers Coffee Shop and take it to your LinkedIn and to your business. So Madeline, I think we're done. We're ready for questions if there's any out there.
Thank you so much. That was an amazing presentation. I know I definitely learned a lot, and I'm sure everyone else on this webinar did as well. I do have a question, but while I'm asking my question, if our attendees would like to put questions in the chat box, I will read them off to Heidi and Karen for them to answer. So if you have any questions, go ahead and put them in the chat box now. Heidi and Karen, I am definitely much more of like a reserved, kind of shy person. Social networking is very easy for me. It's something that I'm comfortable doing because I don't have to look anyone in the face and do it. I can just post it on my own. But as you mentioned, that's only one part of networking. And to really get a business where it needs to be, you kind of need all the aspects of networking. Can you give some advice for someone who is a little more shy, but wants to go to trade shows and kind of wants to get their face and their name out there, but just doesn't really know how to do so because they're more reserved?
Karen?
That's a good question. You know, and it makes me think we've got some folks on our team who are a little more reserved and shy, and that maybe are a little intimidated by it. So, you know, that place to start, let's start with a trade show. For instance, I know LEAP does a lot of trade shows. And you want to, and Kate at LEAP is a wonderful marketing director, working those shows and setting them up.
She's not shy at all.
Right, exactly. So by recognizing that and connecting yourself with someone in her position, she kind of can be that person that takes you under her wing. And that's what we do. We say, okay, here are the events that we have. Let's go. And I introduce this, you know, here, meet this person. And then, you know, the conversation's a little more, you've got that buffer there in that protector. So that makes it a little bit easier. I think that's the first step I would do, especially for in-person events. And you can kind of be behind the scenes. And it's okay to say, we have some packed days when we go to trade shows, and there's this event and there's that event, and then you have to go here. And I mean, some people are like, ugh, I have no more energy. It's been sucked out of me. And is it okay if I just go back to my room this evening and have some me time? And it's okay to say that, and it's okay to do that.
Exactly. And, you know, I really think it goes back to the goal setting, especially if it's hard. So the first thing I'm going to say before I go into goal setting is, if you're on a Zoom meeting, I challenge everyone, turn your camera on. That is probably one of the hardest first steps, right? Turn your camera on and be engaged that way. It makes it easier when you're in person. That's one small little step. A lot of people I'll be on calls, they just don't want their camera on and it's okay if you don't, but it is, it's a first step. As you go into these shows, if you have a goal, to Karen's point, I had at the last IRE, I had a roofing contractor reach out to me and say that it was Heather, and said Casey was going to be there. It was the first time of the show. Would we have her sit with us? It was great. We became fast friends. We introduced her to the rest of the team. She joined us as we went through. But if she would have had to do that just to come in cold, that's a lot harder. So do your homework. I think we said that on one of the slides. Do your homework ahead. What are your goals? Who do you want to meet? Who can maybe introduce you ahead of time? And maybe set up a time to meet. Or if you know they're going to be at the booth, can we come by and see you at the booth? And maybe we'll see you at some other events. So it is intimidating. Baby steps. Just your goal could be one person for the whole event that you want to meet, and that's okay. And so as you go through,
that is definitely great advice. And I do very much agree with the having your cameras on during Zoom, because I had a meeting with both of you before this, and coming on today, I definitely wasn't as nervous because I'd already seen your smiling faces and met you once before through the camera. So I can definitely agree with that. We did get a question in the chat box. And there's no silly questions here, Kristen, but she said, how should I dress for networking reception in person and online? And what should she do if she doesn't have a business card when she's at these events?
You know what? This is really interesting. Karen and I have had this conversation over the years a lot. And I think in the past, there was a lot more expectations on how you dress, right? That it had to be a suit, heels, you had to do all these kind of things. We've become rather rebellious on this.
Heidi wears Birkenstocks.
I love it. I love my Birkenstock.
Yes. And Karen has her boots and jeans with a nice blazer. She always looks incredibly
I'm wearing
professional.
that blazer today.
There you go. I tend to be a little bit more of a hippie gal. And so I tend to wear a little bit more flowy hippie clothes because that's what I'm comfortable in with my Birks. And long as you are professional, we do, I don't know, I'm going to get in trouble.
The three B's. The three B's.
No butt.
There's
No belly.
No belly, no butt, no boobs.
Yeah.
Those are good rules.
Yeah, hopefully no one gets upset with that, but I'm kind of like, I do it for guys and gals. I don't care. I don't want to see anybody guy's belly either. And so just being really appropriate. I do think one of the things is do what's right for you, because sometimes putting on those heels and that suit, man, it just empowers you and you feel great. And that's exactly what you should do. If it's totally uncomfortable and you want to just kill somebody because you're so uncomfortable in what you're wearing, don't do that. Change into something else.
The second part of the question is, what should I do if I don't have business cards?
Yeah.
You can always collect business cards from other people. You can, with cell phones and technology, you can say, oh, let me send my contact to you real quick, and pull up your phone and put it in there and shoot a text. One thing we did for trade shows was we, as part of our press badge that we wear, had our name on it, kind of like a name tag. You can put a QR code on there that someone could just scan with their phone, and then your contact information will populate on their screen. And then you could always, when you do collect the business cards from other people because you didn't have yours, that's a good opportunity to reach out and connect on LinkedIn after the fact. You can say, oh, hey, remember me? I didn't have my business cards. Oh, we've all done it. I've done it. I'm like, how did I come to this event with no cards?
If you don't have business cards, because maybe your business is just like, you don't need a business card, and that happens a lot, go out and get your own. Just do a personal business card. You can do it through Vistaprint. It's not very expensive. Put your LinkedIn tag on there, put your cell phone and your information, and make it your own personal card. It doesn't have to be your business card. It could be your personal too.
Yeah, it is very affordable.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. That was great advice. And I wanted to thank you again for the presentation. For all of our viewers today, make sure you go check out Roofers Coffee Shop as well as leap.com. I also wanted to remind you that every week Leap does do a webinar. Next week's webinar is how to connect your culture to resonate your brand. We'll be talking about recruiting and hiring with HR coach Roz from Contractor Coach Pro. So if you are available next Tuesday at 3 p.m., please join us. You can go register on Leap's website right now. Thank you again, Karen and Heidi. It was great speaking with you. Great seeing you again. And I hope to see you at one of these in-person events so I can put together and try out some of those tips you just gave me. Maybe I won't be so shy next time.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you so much.